Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to today's class. So, today we are going to see the final portion of your UGC NET syllabus for unit number 5, that is the International Economics, where we will cover the international trade agreements and some international organizations, right? So, this portion is a little broad, but see, here my job was to collect all the information in one place, which I have already done. This is the note I have prepared for you. And in this note, you have everything that you need to know. Yes, after going through this note, again, I cannot guarantee that you will get everything because in UGC NET, they love to give you surprise questions. Whatever thing you learn, they will give you something new. So, keeping those unpredictable questions aside, everything in the static portion that you need to know, I have collected this here. So this was my job. Now your job here is more than me. Here everything is based on your power of memorization. Here you don't have many things to understand. Here you have to know which organization or which agreement was which organization was established when, which treaty or which agreement was signed when, and what are the headquarters of different organizations, what are the purpose and objectives of different organizations, and different, challenges and all the key points, basically the key features. And all these things, I have very less to explain here, and you have, very broad things to memorize. So I will, recommend you to start early. You have 1 month time, around 1 month. So if you start from today, this will be good for you because this will take time for you to memorize, right? So please see here the first trade agreement that we will see. It is the GATT agreement. GATT agreement. Along the way, I'll solve questions also. You will see what kind of questions you can expect. So see, General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. This is the GATT agreement. So GATT was established in the year 1947. First information. Why this was established? To promote international trade by reducing tariffs and other trade barriers. So it was, the main purpose was to promote free trade. It was intended to reduce the impact of tariff and all the other trade barriers that we have already covered. We have seen tariff barriers, non-tariff barriers, all the trade barriers are covered in the previous class. So GATT was established to promote free trade and to reduce the impact of all kinds of trade barriers. So see here, it was a multilateral trade agreement aimed at fostering economic cooperation among the countries, creating a framework for the global trade. So many countries participated in that. Multilateral trade agreement was signed, and it was aimed at fostering economic cooperation among the countries, creating a global framework for global trade. So basically, it's a generalized rules. What rules will be followed for international trade? It postulated a general set of rules. Important question, headquarters. Headquarter for GATT is Geneva in Switzerland. Important question. It has come many times before. So please remember this. Objectives. Objective firstly to promote free trade. See, reduce tariffs, trade barriers to encourage international trade. That is the main purpose. Main purpose is to promote free trade. Remember this. Now, second is ensure non-discriminatory trade. So all the member countries who have signed this GATT agreement, they will be treated equally. This is also one of the most important things. If you are a GATT signed member country, then what will happen? You will be given equal importance than every other country who has signed the agreement. So all the member countries who have agreed to this GATT agreement will be treated equally. So there will be non-discriminatory trade. So every nation, every member country will will be given the same opportunity, will be given the same free trade situation, opportunities, funding, everything, resources, connections, everything that you need for your trade enhancement, everything will be given to you, irrespective of the size, irrespective of the zone that you are in, everything else kept aside, you will be given equal opportunity. So they will be adopting the most favored nation principle. So all the countries who are a part of GATT will be given the most favored nations. Only GATT will support them. GATT will back them to promote free trade only in those member countries with equal opportunity. So where any trade concession given to any one country should be extended to all other countries. If one country is getting some specific benefit, it will be extended to all the other countries. So that was ensured, that was one of the objectives of GATT. Then you have increase in transparency, encourage clear rules, trade rules will be, international trade rules will be clearly defined, transparent rules will be there to promote trust and to build predictability in global commerce. So a set of rules, standard rules will be built upon which all the international trade will happen. And it will encourage clear rules for trade, promote trust, predictability, and then trade liberalization, continuously reduce tariffs and other trade restrictions. So this is the same point as before, like free trade will be promoted, promotion of free trade. That was the main, objective. Now, the key provisions first is the same, that the most favored nations clause that is treating all the trading partners equally by offering them the same trade benefits. No country will get additional benefits due to suppose its status, its size. The GDP is more. It doesn't mean that that country will get more benefits than the other countries. So, most favored nation means all the member countries who are under this GATT agreement, who has agreed to the GATT agreement, they will get same opportunity and same benefits. Then national treatment, after the goods enter the market, they should be subjected to discriminatory treatments. Then you have reciprocal trade concession. So countries must make reciprocal concession during trade negotiations, and no quantitative restrictions. Restrictions on the quantity of goods are prohibited. Since they wanted to promote free trade, any kind of restrictions, tariffs, non-tariff, quota, voluntary export restraints, subsidies, any kind of standards, regulations, any barriers will be prohibited within the GATT countries, except under certain circumstances. So these are certain key provisions. Now challenges. Every treaty, agreement, every organization will face certain challenges. What was the challenges faced by GATT? GATT was limited to goods trade only. That is why we need the World Trade Organization after that. The GATT was limited only to the goods trade and not the service trade and the intellectual property trade, which was incorporated by this World Trade Organization or WTO. Right? This is a very important, limitation of GATT, that when we say trade, international trade, GATT only proposed trade to the physical goods, only goods, not services, not intellectual properties like patents and also research, basically research findings and all, intellectual properties. So they have not included that in the trade. When we say trade, they only meant trade in goods, only goods. So that was one of the major limitations. Also, it lacked enforcement mechanism, making it difficult to settle disputes. So a proper framework was not there to resolve disputes. This was one of the challenges of GATT. Right? So this is the first, agreement that we need to know very well. Then important organization establishment came, World Trade Organization. So WTO was established in the year 1995, replacing GATT. So GATT was replaced in the year 1995 and WTO was established. So again, it is a global organization dealing with rules of trade between the countries. So again, so GATT was just an agreement, but WTO is an organization. So it's a global international organization dealing with rules of trade between the countries. So it will generalize the rules, different rules that has to be followed in the international trade framework. Again, the objectives of WTO: promote trade liberalization, encourage open and fair trade. So we know there are different benefits of free trade, fair trade. So they will encourage that. Reducing tariffs, non-tariff barriers. Since it is the origination is GATT, so the first objective was kept from there. Right? So it will also promote free trade. Dispute settlement mechanism, provide a platform to resolve trading disputes between the nations. So in case of GATT, it was one of the limitations that they did not have proper mechanisms, efficient mechanisms to settle disputes, but WTO worked on that. So they have given a platform to settle disputes among the member countries. Then you have trade negotiations. It serves as a forum for negotiations also among the member countries in trade related issues. Also monitoring transparency, monitor trade policies, ensure that they comply to the agreed rules. So all these are the objectives of WTO. If you want, you can take a screenshot, or if you want to write this, you can write this. Otherwise, you will get the note anyways, right? Then you have certain key features of WTO. Let me come down. See, multilateral trade negotiations. So the WTO operates through rounds of negotiations. So we will see later different rounds. So WTO operates on different rounds of negotiations, with the Doha development round being one of the most prominent rounds. We'll see all the rounds. I have listed them. We will see in a while. Now, the most important property and improvement over GATT was that it can trade in goods, also in services, also in intellectual properties. So, as I've told you, GATT was restricted only to good trade in goods, only the physical goods. But here, WTO promoted trade not only in goods but also in services and property rights. So, see, unlike GATT, WTO covers goods, services, intellectual properties, and trade-related investment measures like TRIMS. TRIPS and TRIMS comes under, WTO, and it was not under GATT. So this is also one of the important points. Then you have dispute settlement. WTO has a different forum, different formal forum to settle the disputes, to find resolutions, which is binding and aims to resolve conflicts without escalating to trade wars. Review policy mechanism ensures members comply with the trade commitment. So monitoring, proper monitoring is also taking place among the member countries. Right. So this is there. Now, see, the next thing which is important and which is unique to this WTO World Trade Organization is that they have introduced different kind of subsidies. Subsidies, as you know, is a kind of non-tariff barrier. We have learned this in the previous lecture. Subsidies are kind of non-tariff barrier, and all the subsidies that WTO will provide are, grouped under several names. There are several broad categories under which it is named, and they have different names like green box, amber box. So let's see, questions are formed from this informations, this subsidies. So I have made this chart for you. So see the box type, different kinds of subsidies that the member countries are entitled of. So first is the green box. So you have to remember a little description what this is all about. If you don't remember all these things, fine. Just try to remember the main thing, which box is related to what. So this description is very important corresponding to the boxes. So see the green box is related to non-trade distorting subsidies. Non-trade distorting subsidies. Here, what are the examples of that? For example, subsidies for environmental programs, direct income support to farmers without affecting production decisions, rural development programs, infrastructure investment. So all this comes under non-trade distorting subsidies, which are grouped under green box. And they have given you questions that under green box, what, so they will give you 3 to 4 examples, and they will say that which of these subsidies comes under the green box, or which of these comes under the amber box, and all the subsequent boxes that we will see now, right? So this example is very important. Example and description. If you want to skip this key features, you can skip them, but don't skip this example. Example is very important. I have given you the key features. If you want, you can take a look at this. Here, I don't want to read this line by line. That will waste your time. I am just saying what are the things that you need to remember. Here, I don't have any other options. You have to remember this, right? It is UGC NET exam. So memorization, rote learning is a part of it. I can't help it, but this is how it is. Then you have amber box. Amber box is subsidies are related to trade distorting subsidies. For example, price support. Price support that keep domestic price above the world market price. Also export subsidies, input subsidies to the producers. All this comes under trade distorting subsidies. So all these things will distort, will affect trade, will have adverse effect on trade. For price support, export subsidy, input subsidies, all this comes under amber box, which is related to trade distorting subsidies. Then you have blue box. Blue box subsidies, these are production limiting subsidies, right? All these things are supervised by WTO. WTO, arranged this thing. They have standardized this thing that we will provide this kind of subsidies, which comes under this kind of box. So this is, sole innovation of WTO only. So blue box related to production limiting subsidies, which are the subsidies tied to limit production. For example, payments based on historical production levels. Program that restrict total output or to reduce price distortion. So these are certain kind of subsidies which are related to production limits, right? So this is about blue box. Then you have yellow box and black box. Yellow box, see, this is related to domestic support measures, maybe trade distorting. For example, price floors or price support. So anything might come. They will give you any of the 4 5 examples. They can give you the list questions also, match list one, list two. In list one, they will give you the boxes. In list two, they will give you certain examples or certain key features, maybe. Key features are not that important, but still, if you want, you can take a look at this. They will give you examples and then they will tell you to match. So these kind of questions you can expect. So price floors, price supports, direct payment links to specific farming activities, quotas comes under yellow box, which is related to domestic support for basically measures maybe trade distortion. Finally, you have black box, prohibited subsidies. So it says explicitly prohibited by WTO rules, considered the most harmful to fair trade and competition. Countries face sanctions if implemented. For example, export subsidies, lowering export price, state aid that discriminates against foreign goods and services, all these things, they are generally prohibited. This comes under black box. Right, so these are few types of subsidy boxes that is being initiated by WTO that you need to know. Then again, you have some principles, not that important. Non-discrimination, same. The concept is the same, that we will treat all the countries equally. All the countries which comes under WTO will be treated equally. MFN principle, most favored nation principle, and the national treatment will be given. Reciprocity, countries agreed to provide trade concession to each other, and fair competition will be promoted to promote transparent and competitive trade practices. Now, there are different challenges and criticisms to WTO also. Developing countries argue that WTO disproportionately benefits developed countries. So this is one of the, they have this argue that most favored nation clause is not holding true, and developed nations are getting more benefits than the developing nations from WTO. This was one of the criticisms. Second is globalization inequality. Some critics believe that WTO's focus on trade liberalization exacerbates global inequality. It promotes global inequality. And the third challenge is environmental and labor standards. This is a concern that WTO rules do not adequately address environmental and labor issues. So they have only postulated the rules, standard rules that should follow in international trade, and they have avoided the environmental and labor issue aspect of that. So these are certain challenges that WTO as an organization faces. Now, the thing that I was telling you before, the negotiation rounds. I know it's very boring, difficult, monotonous, whatever you want to call it, you can call it, but questions come from this negotiation rounds. There are different rounds. So to make your life simple, I have, noted everything in this one chart. See here. So WTO and its uh, predecessor GATT, basically negotiation round. So it started with Geneva round. Geneva round when GATT was formed. So here I have written round, corresponding years and the key achievements. Only this much. If you remember some of this, that will be enough, because they give you sequencing questions. They will give you some of the rounds and they will tell you to sequence them in order of their appearance, right? So Geneva round 1947, GATT was established. This we have seen before. NSE round 1949, minor tariff cuts. Torquay round 50-51, limited progress. Geneva round 2, 55-56. You can see here small adjustments. Dilo round 60-61. Kennedy round. Tokyo round. Most important here is the Uruguay round. Uruguay round was 86 to 94. Here WTO was created. So this is a question from UGC NET, that which round replaced GATT with WTO. So it will be Uruguay round. So this is one of the questions which is important. 1986 to 94. WTO created in 1995. Then you have Doha round, focus on development. Bali conference. After Bali conference, you have certain Post Bali developments, you have Nairobi conference in 15, Buenos Aires in 27, and then you have 22 MC12 focused on fishery subsidy pandemic responses. So starting from 1947, you have different rounds all the way to 2024. You can see this chart. Nairobi round, Buenos Aires round, Geneva round, Abu Dhabi round. Abu Dhabi is the last round. So you must know the recent data. And here, unresolved issue was fisheries dispute settlement. This was the discussion. And the key achievements was e-commerce moratorium extended to 2026, LDC, gradualization, flexibility. Not that important. You can just remember which, in which year which conference was conducted. And some specific features, only some specific features as I pointed out, when GATT was created, when WTO was created, and the recent one, recent last 2-3 years, you must know. Now let's see the question. This is recent question, June 2024, exactly from the rounds that we have seen so far. Arrange the following rounds of tariff negotiations of GATT sequentially. See, recent question, exactly the thing that I taught you. Oldest to the recent. Dilo round, Torquay round, Kennedy round, Geneva round, Tokyo round. So for that, you don't have any other options but to know the sequence. See here, Geneva round was 1947 first. Then you have Torquay round, 50, 51, Dilo round. Then you have Kennedy round. Then you have Tokyo round. So here you can take a look at this. I'll share this, note with you. You can take a look at this. Here, nothing to explain, just memorize. So the right answer will be option number C. This will be the arrangement. D, D, A, C, E. Here you can see the corresponding years. Right? So if you don't remember the actual year, at least remember in which decade, 1950s or 60s or 70s, like that. If you remember that much, then also you can solve the sequencing kind of questions. So for this question, C will be the right answer. This is June 2024 paper. Then see the next question. Again, a recent question. March 2023 paper 1. Arrange the following WTO ministerial conferences in descending order, newest to oldest. Again, you are given certain conferences. Again, this comes from the second list that I have given you. These are all recent conferences, ministerial conferences. So again, see here, Seattle conference was in 1993, ministerial conference 3. Then you have Cancun, I don't know which place is this, 2003 MC5. Then you have Bali conference 2013. Then you have Nairobi conference 2015 and Buenos Aires conference in 2017. So as much as you can remember depends on your memorization. So B will be the right answer. Here you can see the sequence. B, B, C, A, E. D is the right answer for this question. Right? So this was March 2023 paper. Okay. So GATT and WTO is done. Now the next organization that is very important is the International Monetary Fund. So we all have heard this name before, IMF. Okay. So let's talk about IMF now. So IMF, International Monetary Fund, was established in the year 1945. 44, in some books you will find 44, in some books you will find 45. So 44, 45, this range, within this range, at the Bretton Woods Conference. This is the most asked question in UGC NET. Bretton Woods Conference gives rise to which organization? Or IMF was formed with the help of which conference? Which conference gives birth to IMF? So this, any kind of questions might come. Bretton Woods is associated with IMF. Please remember this fact. Its main function is to promote international financial stability and exchange rate stability. So this is the main purpose. Main purpose is to ensure to promote financial stability internationally, also exchange rate stability. Objectives. Again, the objectives I have listed here: promote international monetary cooperation, provide policy advice, financial assistance to the member countries. Whichever country follows, whichever countries are a member country of IMF, IMF will help them financially if they need. in our of requirement, they will come into the picture. Ensure stability and exchange rate, ensure stability of exchange rates, maintain fixed and stable exchange rates to facilitate smooth global trade. Also, they provide financial assistance, short-term loans to countries facing balance of payment problems. So currently, IMF is providing loans to Pakistan. So that is one of the examples of short-term financial assistance for the countries who are facing severe balance of payment problems. Then you have monitor global economic health. So conduct regular surveillance of global and country-specific economic performance. So they basically overview the overall world monetary situation. If they see that some country is in need for financial assistance, they will provide them, but they will impose certain restrictions also. Instead of certain restrictions, they will provide short-term loans. And they will also try to maintain a stable exchange rate so that will help them to stabilize the international trade also. Because exchange rate influences the trade in general. So that is why they will try to maintain a stable exchange. Then you have certain key features. For example, surveillance, monitoring will be done, monitoring, analyzing of global national policies to maintain stability, financial assistance will be provided, capacity development will be made, offering technical assistance, also training, not only financial assistance, but also training assistance to the member countries in areas like tax policies, financial regulations, exchange rate management, and so on. So these are certain key functions of IMF. Then you have IMF quota and voting rights. So IMF is not based on non-discriminatory policy. IMF has discrimination. If you are a member country who has large GDP, then you will be given more voting rights. Depending on the size, depending on your economic power, political power, you will be given more voting rights. So you will have more power in general in among the IMF countries. So this most favored nation clause, this is not maintained in IMF. This is one of the most important differentiation between WTO and IMF. So in GATT and in WTO, they were in favor of most favored nation clause. So they will treat every nation equally, but IMF does not treat, because they are treating the financial aspect. So financial aspect will depend on the size of the nation and your power in general. So see, IMF quotas and voting rights, member countries contribute financially to IMF through quotas. All the member countries will have some quota that you have to provide IMF with this much. So IMF will give loan from the contribution that is being made through quotas, right? They do not have any funds on their own. Member countries will support IMF, and then IMF will support the member countries back when they need it. So it's a bi-directional transactional institute. So member countries will contribute financially to IMF through quotas, which reflect their economic size. Depending on their capability, their capacity, their size, economic size, they will give IMF some, financial assistance in quota. So some bracket quota means a fixed amount of financial assistance has to be made towards IMF every year, and then in the hour of need, IMF will help them back. And the quotas also determine the voting power. The more financial assistance you give towards IMF, the more you can expect in return. So again, I'm saying this is discriminatory. This does not follow most favored nation clause. Quotas also determine the voting power of each of the country in IMF's decision-making process. So among all the IMF member countries, those who have more quota, those who provide more financial assistance to IMF, they will have more voting rights. So they can influence the decision-making process and they can turn it in their own favor. So for example, USA, if it is a member country, then it will have the maximum voting right because it is economically the most strong nation here in the world, right? So that is why if you are a strong nation, economically your size is big, then you have more bargaining power, more decision-making power, more voting rights inside IMF. That is why it is discriminatory in nature. Now, just like every other organization, IMF also faces certain challenges. For example, conditionality. IMF loans come with strict conditions. It's not that they can provide any country any amount of loan. They comes with very strict conditions, including economic reforms. They can ask you to do economic reforms, austerity measures. Austerity measure means against that some strict kind of measure will be, austerity means strict measures. They will ask you to comply with that, and liberalization processes which can be controversial. So it is usually very harsh. They will give you very strict conditions, instead of which they will provide you loan. So they can ask you to do economic reforms, or they can ask you to take some very hard measures. Also, they can influence the liberalization policies, instead of which they will give you loan. So loans are subject to strict conditions. So this conditionality, many economists have criticized this. It is a matter of controversy. So this is one of the challenges, and the second is influence of developed countries. Critics argue that IMF governance structure disproportionately favors the wealthy nations due to the large quotas and their voting rights. So that is what I told you, that there is inequality, disproportionality in the favor. If you are a strong nation, large nation, then IMF will be biased towards. That is one of the most important, challenge, limitation of IMF. So it is not favorable to the developed nations, developing nations, and it only favors the developed nations. That is one of the critics. Right. So let's now take a look at some of the questions associated with this. June 2023 paper, recent question, in which for in the following year, IMF set up the Extended Fund Facility, EFF, Extended Fund Facility, to support member structural reforms to address balance of payment difficulties of a long-term character. So these kind of unpredictable questions come. This we usually don't cover in the theory that we study, but they will give you such unexpected questions. You can expect at least 15 to 20 such unexpected questions, which you would not have covered in your theory. I have tried to cover as much as I can. All the questions that I got from the past year papers, I have written it here. And the additional questions that are there, I'll solve it and I'll post it in your portal as soon as I make it, right? So all the questions will be there in your portal. But here I have addressed only those questions which are directly related to the theory that I'm talking about. So see, so when was this extended fund facility was set up? The year will be 1974. So see here explanation, extended fund facility was established by IMF in the year 1974 to provide financial assistance to countries facing serious balance of payment problems caused by structural economic issues that require long-term reforms. So this is the year 1974 that you need to know. EFF, Extended Fund Facility, was introduced by IMF, and it was set up in the year 1974 to extend financial assistance to the needy country. So this question is from June 2023. Now let's look at June 2020 question. It says, which one of the following is not the objective of IMF? Not the objective. First option is saying to promote international monetary cooperation. This is absolutely true. This is one of the objectives of IMF. That is why it was built in the first place, to promote international monetary cooperation, right? So this will be true. This is one of the policies, so it is not the right answer. You have to find out which is not the objective. Second is to ensure balanced trade. So as we have seen that IMF tried to maintain the exchange rate so that balance of trade is maintained. So this is also one of the objectives of IMF. This is not the right answer. To ensure exchange rate stability, again, this is also related to this balanced international trade. If the exchange rate is in the balance, trade will also be most likely in a balanced state. So the only not objective of IMF will be this, to provide loans to private sector. IMF does not provide loan to any private sector. IMF works with the central governments and the banks. Basically, governments and the central banks only. They do not extend their loan to any private sector. Loan to the private sector can be given by the central bank of a country or some other funding institution, but not by IMF. So see solution, IMF primarily works with the governments and the central banks, not private sector entities. IMF does not work with private sector entities. Objectives are as follows: promoting international monetary cooperation, which is true. Then you have facilitating balanced growth in trade. Then you have ensuring exchange rate flexibility and providing assistance only to the member countries. Only to the member countries, not to any private sector, right? No private sector loan is given. Only the member countries will get the financial assistance, and the work will be done in close ties with government and the central banks of the country. No private sector entity is given any kind of loan. So providing loans directly to the private sector is not among the core functions. So D will be the right answer to this following question. So this is June 2020 paper, directly from the theory that we have studied in case of IM. Then the next question is from June 2019. See here, the provision under the membership clause of IMF is that any country can become a member if. When can you become a member country of IMF? See the options. First option is saying the country is willing to be a member of the World Bank and is willing to pay all the subscriptions in gold. Second is the country is willing to be a member of WTO and willing to pay all the subscriptions in gold. Third, the country is willing to be a member of the World Bank and is willing to pay subscription. It can be in cash, it can be in gold, anything. Fourth is the country is willing to be a member of UNO and willing to pay subscription. So, what will be the answer? The answer will be option number C. Subscriptions can be paid in any form. It is not mandatory that you have to provide gold. You can provide cash, anything. Government bonds, anything. The country is willing to be a member of the World Bank, willing to pay subscription. The required subscription has to be paid. That is the fee. It can be quarterly, it can be yearly. Fee has to be provided, and also it should be a part of the World Bank. So see here, the solution is given. According to IMF Articles of Agreement, a country can become a member of the International Monetary Fund if it is willing to firstly join the World Bank. Every member country of IMF is also a member of World Bank. So it has to join World Bank, formally which is known as IBRD. We will come to this, International Bank of Reconstruction and Development. And the second is pay the monthly subscription. That is the quota that we talked about. Quota. A fixed amount has to be paid to the IMF if you want to be a member country, which determines its financial commitment and also the voting power. The more quota, the more amount you pay, the more voting power you will have inside IMF. So there is no requirement to pay in gold to be a member of WTO, UNO, IMF membership. So the correct answer will be option number C. So only the required subscription or the quota has to be paid. It can be in any form, not mandatorily in form of gold. Right? So this is June 2019 question. Now, obviously, the next organization that we talk about is the World Bank. So see, World Bank is an international financial institution that provides loans and grants to the governments of low and middle income countries for the purpose of pursuing capital projects. So it directly provides loans to the governments. World Bank directly provides loans to the government. So IMF provides loan to the member countries, but the World Bank directly provides loan to the governments. Government usually of low and middle income countries for the purpose of pursuing capital projects. Some projects, infrastructural projects can be that, housing projects, international infrastructural projects. For that, World Bank will provide loan to the government entities. In order to be a member of the World Bank, country first needs to be a member of the IMF. So it is the other way around. So if you are a member of IMF, you have to be a member of World Bank. If you are a member of World Bank, you have to be a member of WTO. So both the countries, if you are a member of one organization, you have to be a member of the other organization as well. Now there are different, objectives. See here, objectives: poverty reduction, provide financial technical assistance to developing countries to reduce poverty. This is one of the objectives. Promote sustainable development, finance development projects such as infrastructure, education, health, environmental protection. All this are the objectives. To promote sustainable development is one of the objectives of World Bank. Then see what else you have. Foster long-term economic growth, encourage projects that enhance long-term economic sustainability and growth. Now, important is this. What are the key institutions of the World Bank? What are basically the departments, different departments, key institutions under World Bank? First is this, IBRD, which we've seen before, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. So what does this IBRD do? This will provide loan to the middle income and credit toward the low income countries. So you have to know what are the institutions, what are the full form of these institutions. And what is the purpose? What is the purpose for which these institutions were set up? So this IBRD, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, provides loans to the credit-worthy low-income countries and the middle-income countries for construction and development purposes, obviously. Then you have IDA. IDA is International Development Association. It provides concessional loans and grants to the poorest countries. Nothing to explain. Then you have IFC, International Finance Corporation, promote private sector development by supporting private enterprise. So WTO can support private enterprise, but IMF cannot do that. IMF cannot extend its loan to the private sector. It can only do that to the member countries who are paying the monthly subscription, monthly or annual subscription. Then you have MIGA, which is Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency. All this comes under WTO. All these are departments, you can say. MIGA provides political risk insurance and credit enhancement to encourage private investment to the developing countries. And finally, you have ICSID, International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes, provides facilities for arbitration and conciliation or in investment disputes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 different kind of organizations, institutions are there under the World Bank, which do different. These are different purposes that you must know. That is an important question that we will see in a while. When solving questions, we will do that. Focus area, it is basically infrastructure development, roads, bridges, energy, other physical infrastructure. Focuses on human development also, because for development, not only infrastructural development, but human capital development is also needed. That can be achieved using, with the help of education, health and social services. Environmental sustainability is been in focus. Projects focused on environmental protection, sustainable resource use comes under this. And finally, you have private sector growth, encouraging private sector development through loans and investment. So this is basically an addition. Private sector growth, World Bank helps in private sector growth also, which is not, taken under consideration under IMF. World Bank does that. World Bank supports private sector, but IMF does not. And criticism is debt burden. Loans often increase debt burden on the developing nations. So some developing nations take loan to repay loans. So this will pile up their debt burden basically. That is one of the criticism, that we should not provide such loans. Second is environmental and social impact. Some projects have led to environmental degradation and displacement for local communities. So some projects, infrastructural projects, suppose road and bridge building projects, they lead to environmental destructions and displacement of local communities, which is also not morally ethical. So these are some theories that we need to know for World Bank. Let's do the questions. June 2011 paper. See, arrange the following in order in which they have appeared. The code is given below. See, all the organizations that we have studied: International Monetary Fund, Finance Corporation, World Trade Organization, and General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. So for all this, you have to know the years. See here, I have given you all the years. So this note will help you in your revision also. You can take a look at this and then you can have a good revision out of this note. That is why I have explained every question in details so that you find it easier to remember. General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, was 1948, 47, 48. IMF 45, 44, 45, but it became operational in 47. International Finance Corporation, which comes under WB, that is World Bank, it is 1956. And then you have World Trade Organization, 1995. Now you have to just arrange them. So if you arrange them, you will get option number B. 1, 2, 4, 5, sorry, 4, 3. This will be the right arrangement for your question. So only thing that you need to know is the years. If you know the years, you can do this arrangement easily, right? So please try to remember some of these years. Some of the major institutions, the year has to be known. Again, see the question June 2011, as I told you, Bretton Woods. Questions come from Bretton Woods. So Bretton Woods twins are what? Important question. Bretton Woods, we know IMF was formed, after this Bretton Woods conference. and IMF and World Bank, because see, all the members of IMF are also the members of World Bank. All the members of World Bank are also the members of IMF. Only the functionalities are different. IMF is not catering to the private sector units, but World Bank is also catering to the private sector units. IMF mostly focuses on international monetary cooperation and stability, influencing the exchange rate and everything associated, regulating the monetary policy and all. But World Bank basically helps in development purposes. Development purposes, mostly the developing nations or the low income countries who are credit worthy, right? Credit worthy low income nations, middle income nations, and they provide loans not only to the government sectors but also to the private organizations in order to carry out developmental projects. Developmental projects. Environmental degradation might happen, but this is one of their objectives to carry out. So both these things are a byproduct of Bretton Woods Conference. So Bretton Woods twins are IMF and World Bank. World Bank was initially originally known as IBRD. Basically, it was a development bank, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. So see, these institutions were established at the Bretton Woods Conference in 1944 to rebuild international economic system post World War II. So that is why it is known as the twins, Bretton Woods twins, because IMF, World Bank, these are two leading or international organizations which were set up by this Bretton Woods conference in the year 1944. So the right answer here will be option number B. This is June 2011 question. Let's move on. The final part will be the regional trade blocks. Regional trade blocks means some countries, some regions in some countries will come together. They will agree to trade with each other. Mostly free trade. Mostly free trade will go on, and they will also set their system for the tariff, the tariff and the non-tariff barriers that they may face from the other countries. They will set standard rules for that. This is basically economic integration. These regional trade blocks are a way of economic integration. Many economies will come together. They will form a conglomerate and they will operate as a single economy. And this will help them to enhance their trade participation. They will become trade partners basically, and they will also enjoy all the benefits as a unit, not as a single economy, as a unit, as a whole, as a conglomerate. They will enjoy different benefits. So that is the benefit of forming regional trade bloc, or this is the process of economic integration. Also, we call this economic integration. Again, many questions are coming from this regional trade blocks. The regional trade blocks are the agreements between the countries within a particular region. Not, it may not be the entire countries, but some particular regions also. Between countries within a particular region to facilitate trade by reducing tariff, eliminating quota, enhancing economic integration altogether. So all the member countries who are there in the trade bloc, they will promote free trade within those countries. Within the member countries, no restrictions will be there. They will all enjoy the benefits of trade. There will be free trade. Free trade will be promoted. So tariffs will be reduced, quotas will be eliminated, and it will enhance the economic integration. Regional trade blocs are a way of integration, economic integration. And these agreements can take various forms depending upon the levels of integration. There are 4 to 5 levels of integration. So now we will go into that. What are the levels of integration? The first level is this, free trade area. This is level 1 basically. The first level of integration, let me call it L1. L1 is the first level of integration where free trade area is being formed. What is free trade area? Member countries eliminate all the tariffs, all the quotas on most but not all the goods traded between them. So this is the first level of integration. For example, see NAFTA. NAFTA is North American Free Trade Agreement, is one of the free trade area. Also, this is now has converted to United States Mexico Canada Agreement, USMCA. So NAFTA is now converted into this. This is one of the level 1 economic integration example, which is free trade area. So all the member countries who agreed to this. So what are the countries? United States, Mexico, Canada. All these countries have agreed to this. So they will form an region free trade area where they will have elimination of all kinds of trade. They will not have any kind of quota except some of the goods, and they will trade among each other, right? So this is the first level of economic integration. Now come to the second level. In the second level, level 2 integration is custom union. Custom union means member countries agree to eliminate all the trade barriers and adopt common external tariff that I was telling you that they will set a common external tariff. External barriers will also be generalized. Common external tariff for goods coming from the non-member countries. So if suppose some countries make this economic custom union, then what they will do, they will mutually decide what will be the tariff rate on the imported goods, what will be the tariff rate that we will impose as all the nations all together. You cannot set different tariffs for different nations. All the member countries will agree on a particular rate of tariff they will charge on the imported goods that are coming from the non-member country. So this is the level 2, deeper level of integration, custom union. For example, European Union before adopting a single market. European Union was a custom union before adopting a single market policy. So after that, it became economic union. We will come to this. But before single market, it was a custom union. So this is level 2. Then you have level 3 is known as the common market. Common market, third level of economic integration, a deeper integration. So the depth is increasing. Free trade area is the least depth integration. Then you have custom union, a little more depth. Then you have common market, a little more depth. So the depth is been increasing. Deeper integration than custom union, and it also allows for free movement of labor, capital, services in addition to goods. Not only goods, but the labor, capital, and all the services can also move freely among the agreed nations. So this is also a deeper level of factor mobility has been ensured without any kind of hindrance and restriction. So this is known as a common market. So all the member countries are acting like a single market. This we see in European area, basically European countries. European Economic Area is one of the examples of common market. So all the countries, all the European countries, they are acting as a single market. Laborers can go from any country to any country without any kind of restriction. So you don't need any verification, documentation, nothing. You are acting as a single market, and all the benefits will be shared equally within all the countries. Then fourthly, you have economic union. European Union previously was custom union, but now it has become a economic union. What is this? Member countries not only remove trade barriers and harmonize economic policies, but also coordinate fiscal monetary policies. At the government level also, the integration is taking place. See, initially in the free trade area and custom union, the trading was only in the goods. Right? The trade that we are talking about was only the physical goods. Common market, not only goods, but the factors also. In the common market, that is the third level of integration that we saw. There we have seen not only the goods, but also services and factors of production. Everything was mobile. Every movement was allowed freely. Deeper integration. Economic union is a even more deeper integration, which is the highest level of integration or the level 4 integration, where what you see not only trade in goods, services, factors, but also fiscal and monetary policies. The government policies between the member countries will also align, right? Not only goods, services, factors, but also the policies, the fiscal monetary policy at the government level. At the government level, the policies are also integrated. They are also aligned with the values of the union that we are forming. So that will be a deeper, a more deep integration, which is the level 4 integration. Some books consider this is the highest level of integration. Some books consider even higher degree of integration, which is the monetary union, which means countries adopt a common currency and coordinate the monetary policy, as you can see in the Eurozone, in the European Union, where Euro is the single currency. This is the highest degree of integration. So in all the countries, you will allow a single currency and they will also coordinate in the monetary policy. So integration in the government policy will take place. Also, not only that, even more advanced, a single currency will be prevalent in all the economies. That will also facilitate free trade and smooth trade. If you don't have to exchange currencies here and there, you don't have to know the exchange rate and anything. All the currencies are the same among the member countries. So trading will be more smooth. It will be a smoother process, flexible process, and it will be beneficial for all. So this kind of monetary integration, which is the highest level of possible degree of integration, is seen in Eurozone in the European Union. So these are the 5 different levels of integration that you have to remember and you have to learn. Now I've given you some examples of regional trade blocs. As an example, European Union, we have seen economic union, it's a type of economic union. Then you have Asian Union, Association of Southeast Asian countries. So they will form ASEAN as a regional bloc. Then you have Mercosur, that is the Southern Common Market in South America. This is existing in South America. Southern is an example of common market. And then you have AFCFTA, which is African Continental Free Trade Area. So in every continent, you have some kind of economic integration, regional blocks, regional trade blocks exist. Now, among them, I have listed down two different, regional blocks that is important for our purposes. First is the European Union, and second is the SAARC. These two things are very important from our point of view. So, European Union is a political economic union. Many questions come from this. It is a union of 27 European countries. 27 European countries comes under this single union, which is the European Union, established to foster integration, peace, and prosperity in Europe. And the important question is this: when did it form? So, originated from European Coal and Steel Community, and the Treaty of Rome formally established. This is important. In 1993, Maastricht Treaty. This treaty has given birth to European Union. This name is important. Maastricht Treaty, basically. This treaty in 1993, this gave birth to European Union, which is important. This is a question. This is a question that has come in some year in UGC NET. Objectives. Objective is to promote economic cooperation through a single market to form Eurozone. Basically, a single policy, single fiscal monetary policy, and also single currency. Eurozone means only a single currency, euro will be applied. So 19 countries use euro as their currency. It will ensure free movement of goods, service, capital, people, uphold democratic values, human rights, and the rules of law. So this was the objectives. Now, what are the institutions there in European Union? You have European Commission in Brussels, which is the executive body for proposing laws. European Parliament, Strasbourg, legislative body for representing citizens. European Council, which exists in Brussels, sets political priorities. Court of Justice, which happens in Luxembourg, ensures EU law compliance. So these are all the member institutions of different bodies, basically different regulatory bodies in European Union, and these are their headquarters. Right? Now, what are the main policies and achievements? So they have ensured bordered free travel to 22 European nations, European Union members, and 4 non-EU members. Then you have common agricultural policy that supports the farmers. Climate goals, they are planning to aim for carbon neutrality by 2050. These are certain main policies and achievements. Challenges is what? Brexit that happened in 2020. UK exit from the European Union, that known as Brexit, which was the major challenge. Economic disparity between member countries, migration, sovereignty debates. So they are also some challenges. But still, in spite of these challenges, you remain as a global leader as in trade, environmental policies, and the multilateral cooperation. Right, so this is all about European Union. SAARC we will do with the help of a question. Now let's take a look at this. March 2023 question from Regional Trade Bloc. Arrange the trading groups as per their year of establishment. So European Free Trade, North American Free Trade, Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation, Andean Community Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So all you need to do, you need to know the year of establishment of each of them. So see here, I have given you that. EFTA established in 1960. Nothing to explain, you have to memorize. NAFTA 1994, it was replaced later on in 2020. Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation 89. Andean Community 1969, and Asian was established in the year 1967. So if you take into account all these years, C will give you the right arrangements. You can do it on your. So please keep in mind, when was this regional blocks was formed? So questions may be found from this. This is a recent question, March 2020 question. Next question is the SARC question. And after this, in the description, I have added a little note on SARC because SARC is important from our point of view. March 2023 again, which of the following are the members of SARC? India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, China. The answer is except China, everything is a member of SARC. Every other country. Total SARC has 8 member countries. So see here, I have given you a short description of SARC here. SARC is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Again, a regional bloc. It's an economic and geopolitical organization established in 1985, 8th of December in Dhaka, Bangladesh. So these are all important informations. 8 member countries are there. It aims to promote regional cooperation development among only Southeast Asian countries. So for America, you have separate thing. For Europe, you have separate thing. For Southeast Asia, you have separate thing. For only the South Asian countries, you have separate trade blocks. Or in general, organization, a union, kind of conglomerate basically. So there are 8 member countries which have to be remembered. They can give you questions like this: which of the following are the member countries of SARC, or which are not member countries? So you have to remember these names: Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. These are all Southeast Asian nations and they are member of SARC. South Asian nations, member of SARC. Here I have listed down some of the objectives and features. Objective is to accelerate economic growth, social progress, strengthen collective self-reliance among the member countries. Self-reliance, Atmanirbhar basically. Self-reliance among member countries. Promote mutual trust, understanding, enhance cooperation in agriculture, trade, science, and culture. So these are objectives. Then you have key features and challenges. What are the key features? First is headquarters. SARC headquarters is in Kathmandu, Nepal. Important information. Observer state is this: China, Japan. They are not member countries, but they are observer states. US, EU, and other, they also are act as an observer state. They are not members of this union. And major initiatives is SAFTA, which is South Asian Free Trade Area, SARC Satellite, Disaster Management Cooperation. All these things are key features and achievements. Challenges is political tension. All these countries face political tensions, India Pakistan conflict in general. Then you have slow implementation of agreements, and economic disparities also act as a challenge for this SARC as an organization. Right? So let's take a look at some questions and then we will stop. Okay. Let's see here. This is June 2023. Which of the following are correct combinations of international institutions and their headquarters? So they given you this information in pair. You have to find out which of the following is right. You have GATT, IMF, World Bank, IDA, that is International Development Organization, Asian Development Bank. So let's take a look at this with the help of this explanation that I have given you. So after every question, you will find this detailed explanation which will help you to revise this better. So see, GATT is in Geneva, Switzerland. This we have seen. General Agreement on Tariff Trade. Headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. It was later replaced by WTO, which is also based in Geneva. GATT was replaced by WTO. WTO office is also based in Geneva. So this is absolutely a right pair. A is right, correct. Then you have IMF. Headquarters is in Washington, D.C., which is also right. Remember this, IMF headquarters is Washington, D.C. in USA. This is also a correct statement. Then you have World Bank, Washington, D.C., which is also right. So Washington, D.C., you have both the headquarters of IMF and World Bank. So it is including IRB. So all these things, see, including World Bank Group, all the member associations, the legislative bodies that we have seen under World Bank, including IBRD and IDA. They are also headquartered in Washington, D.C., US. Then the third is the IDA. We have just learned that it is in Washington, D.C. and it will not be in New York. The option that they have given you, they have said that it is in New York, so this will be incorrect. Incorrect. IDA is a part of World Bank Group, so headquarters will be also in Washington. And the final thing is Asian Development Bank. This is also right. Mandaluyong. I don't know which place is this. So this is in Philippines. Okay. So this is in Philippines. It is a metro city within Metro Manila. Manila is the capital, I guess. So Asian Development Bank headquarters is in Mandaluyong, and it is in Philippines, right? So what will be the right answer? So only four is incorrect. International Development Organization is not in New York; it is in Washington DC. That is why only four will be incorrect. A, B, C, D. Sorry, A, B, C, E. Everything else will be right. So D will be the right answer for this question. And the absolute final thing, this is the last information. I know it's a lot, but this is the absolute final thing. I don't want to make a separate video for this. That is why I've included this. It's also kind of conference, series of conference that was being made for international for environmental protection, known as COP, Conference of the Parties. And questions again have formed from this. So I have given just a small short note on this. Conference of Party is a supreme decision-making body of international environmental agreement. So it is also coming under agreements, international agreement. So it is a supreme decision-making body for environmental agreements, most notably United Nations Framework for Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. Purpose is to review implementation of climate treaties and to make negotiations, new commitments to combat climate. Basically, it protects the environment. Different, conferences are conducted to discuss different environmental protection mechanisms. And there are different notable COPs. COP 3 was in 1997, which is also known as Kyoto Protocol. This you also study in paper 1. So COP 3 is Kyoto Protocol adopted. COP 21 was in 2015, which is the Paris Agreement. 26 was in 2021. Glasgow 2020, 27 was in 2022. Loss Damage Fund for Vulnerable Nations. There are 197 representatives from 197 participate as a member country, which consists of NGO, scientists, activities, all of them participate in this. Frequency held annually in different host countries. Criticism is slow progress for enforcement and funding. So COP serves as critical platform for global climate action to challenges, though challenges remain in achieving consensus. Right. So if you have 197 member countries, it is very difficult to achieve consensus. So they suffer from this problem. But though it has some of the limitations, it serves as a critical platform for global climate action. So only this much, if you remember, that will be enough. Why I have given this? Because a recent year question has been formed from this. Last question. This is the last question. We'll do this and then we'll stop. March 2023, paper 1. Match UNFCCC COP conferences according to their location. So in the list 1, they have given you the name of the conferences. In list 2, they have given you the name of the location. So you have to match this. Let's see. So COP 15, it was conducted in Copenhagen, Denmark in the year 2009. COP 21 is in Paris, France, held in the year 2015. COP 13 was in Bali, Indonesia, held in 2007. And COP 27 was in Egypt, Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt, in 2020. So if you match them, then this will be B will be the right matching for this question. Right. So this is all about the international organizations and treaty from my side. And with this, I have covered all the syllabus, the main portion of your syllabus in international economics. I am planning to make a separate video for the exchange rate as a concept, because many questions are coming from that. That will be under additional topics. The main topics, all the theories that we need to know is absolutely being covered. I have uploaded altogether, I think 11 or 12 lecture videos. All the notes are there in your portal. So please prepare this well. If you have any questions from this unit 5, that is international economics, you can let me know any questions you find difficult, and I will be uploading all the remaining questions. I have solved many questions along with the lecture. The rest of the questions that are remaining, that I'll solve them and I'll upload them as soon as I can, right? So thank you so much for your time. Please prepare this well. I know it's a kind of rote learning kind of a thing, but this is how UGC likes to conduct their exams. We can't do anything about that. So please prepare this well, and let's meet you in some other video. Thank you for your time.